Have you ever gazed into the fathomless depths of your own dreams, felt the tantalizing pull of a reality just beyond the veil of waking life, and wondered what forbidden vistas might lie revealed if only you dared to push a little further, to pierce that shimmering membrane between the known and the utterly unknowable, even if it meant sacrificing a piece of your very soul? What if I told you that such a journey, fueled not by sleep's gentle invitation, but by the audacious whisper of illicit substances and the corrosive allure of forbidden knowledge, could lead not to enlightenment, but to an ultimate, irreversible transformation? A cosmic horror so profound it leaves the mind shattered and the body a mere shell, inhabited by something ancient and alien. This is the chilling premise at the heart of H.P. Lovecraft's Hypnos, a story that, though often overshadowed by his more famous epics of elder gods and cyclopean cities, nonetheless distills the essence of cosmic dread into a potent, hallucinatory draught, leaving us to ponder the very nature of reality, the boundaries of human perception, and the terrifying consequences of hubris in the face of an indifferent, unfathomably vast universe. Lovecraft, a master weaver of unsettling tales, perpetually explored the fragility of human sanity when confronted with truths too immense, too ancient, or too alien for our paltry brains to comprehend, and in Hypnos he delves into the potent cocktail of drug-induced altered states, the profound intimacy of shared delusion, and the terrifying revelation of a cosmos utterly inimical to human existence, all wrapped in a dreamlike prose that seeps into your very being like a slow-acting poison. Our journey into Hypnos begins not with a bang, but with a whisper, the quiet, melancholic musings of an unnamed sculptor, a man profoundly dissatisfied with the mundane fabric of waking life, an individual whose artistic sensibilities crave something more, something deeper, something beyond the drab confines of everyday reality. And it is this yearning, this aching hunger for the transcendent, that makes him so susceptible to the influence of a mysterious stranger, a figure who materializes seemingly from the shadows, whose eyes hold a peculiar glint, a shared hunger for the same elusive truths, truths that lie hidden within the labyrinthine passages of dreams and the shadowed halls of forbidden knowledge. This stranger, whose name we never learn, becomes not merely a companion, but a soulmate in transgression, his intellect sharp, his presence compelling, his vision perfectly aligned with the narrator's own secret aspirations, and together they embark on a perilous voyage, one not across oceans or through dense jungles, but into the uncharted territories of the human mind, armed with ancient texts, whispered lore, and most crucially a series of mind-altering drugs, substances whose very names carry the faint echo of esoteric rituals and clandestine experiments. The narrator describes these initial forays into the chemically enhanced dream world with a blend of awe and apprehension, painting vivid pictures of landscapes born of pure imagination, places where the stars were green and the laws of space and time had no meaning, where they could transcend the physical, exploring realms of pure thought and sensation, their spirits unbound from corporeal anchors, soaring through vistas of impossible beauty and terrifying grandeur. Each journey a shared experience, a synchronized dance on the edge of perception, forging a bond between them that surpassed the ordinary, a fraternity of seekers plumbing the depths of the cosmic abyss. Initially, these excursions are exhilarating, a liberation from the mundane, a discovery of hidden dimensions, a shared secret that elevates them above the common herd, and their waking hours become mere interludes, tedious necessities to be endured before they could once again plunge into the vibrant, boundless freedom of their shared dreamscape. A realm they come to believe is more real, more vital, more profound than the paltry existence they inhabit by day. They converse with ancient beings, witness the birth and death of nebulae, and explore cities built of pure light and shadow, and through it all the bond between the two men deepens, fueled by the shared intensity of their visions and the collective belief that they are on the cusp of a revelation, a breakthrough into ultimate cosmic truth. Yet even in these early triumphs, a subtle unease begins to creep into the narrator's consciousness, a faint tremor of fear that his companion, the enigmatic stranger, is pushing too far, too fast, his ambition burning with an almost reckless intensity, an unquenchable thirst for deeper understanding that borders on obsession. For while the narrator cherishes the beauty and freedom of their shared dreams, his friend seems to be driven by a more singular, almost desperate desire to reach a specific point, a theoretical boundary that he refers to, with an unsettling mixture of reverence and dread, as the corona, a threshold beyond which he believes the ultimate secrets of existence lie revealed, waiting to be grasped. The corona becomes a focal point for their explorations, an invisible barrier that promises ultimate understanding but also hints at ultimate danger, a boundary beyond the known universe, a place where the very fabric of reality might unravel. And the friend, with growing fervour, begins to speak of it not just as a concept, but as a tangible place, a luminous shimmering wall separating their dream realm from something far grander, far older, and far more terrifying. His descriptions become more abstract, less tied to human sensation, filled with references to outer spaces, non-Euclidean vistas, and unthinkable dimensions. Terms that send shivers down the narrator's spine, even as they ignite a spark of fearful curiosity. The narrator, a sculptor by trade, finds solace and an anchoring point in the tangible world of form and structure, in the shaping of clay and marble, an act of creation that gives meaning and order to his existence. But his friend, the pure intellectual, the cosmic explorer, seems to disdain such earthly tetherings, seeing them as mere limitations, distractions from the grand quest for ultimate truth. And this divergence in their approaches, this subtle shift in their priorities, marks the beginning of their rift, a widening chasm between one who seeks beauty within the dream and another who seeks pure, unadulterated, unvarnished truth beyond it. As the friend pushes closer to this dreaded corona, his demeanor undergoes a subtle yet profound alteration. His eyes, once alight with shared wonder, now gleam with a cold, almost predatory intensity. His voice taking on an unnervingly detached quality, his conversations increasingly dominated by theories of cosmic geometry and the utter insignificance of humanity, of Earth, of all terrestrial concerns. And the narrator begins to sense a chilling transformation taking place within his companion, a gradual erosion of his human essence, replaced by something colder, something vastly ancient, something utterly inhuman, as if the very truths he was seeking were already beginning to seep into his being, reshaping him from the inside out, preparing him for a state of existence utterly alien to the human condition. The narrator's apprehension grows into outright fear, a visceral dread that pulses beneath his skin, for he starts to glimpse in the periphery of their shared visions shadows of things that are not meant for human eyes, forms that defy description, entities of such immense power and terrifying indifference that they threaten to unravel the very threads of his sanity, and he tries to warn his friend, to caution him against the relentless pursuit of this ultimate boundary, to pull back from the precipice, but his pleas fall on deaf ears, dismissed as the timid anxieties of a lesser spirit, of one who lacks the courage to truly embrace the cosmic unknown. The friend, fueled by an almost pathological obsession, becomes increasingly reckless, utterly consumed by his singular quest to breach the corona. And the narrator, now a reluctant passenger on this terrifying voyage, watches with a sickening sense of foreboding as his companion prepares for the ultimate leap. A final, desperate surge towards the absolute boundary of human consciousness and beyond. A journey from which the narrator instinctively knows there can be no true return. And then it happens. The friend makes his final audacious push, venturing beyond the last glimmering vestiges of their shared dreamscape, beyond the corona, into that forbidden expanse of outer spaces, into the very face of cosmic ultimate truth. And the narrator, alone and terrified, is left behind, adrift in the desolate emptiness of a consciousness now bereft of its anchor, its guide, its shared purpose. The silence that follows is not one of peace, but of profound, terrifying absence. A void where companionship once thrived, a vast echoing chasm that fills the narrator with an almost unbearable dread. A premonition of irreversible catastrophe, of a boundary crossed that could never be uncrossed, of a trespass against cosmic laws that would demand an unthinkable toll. What follows is the story's chilling climax, a moment of grotesque revelation that cements its place as a quintessential Lovecraftian horror. For the friend does return, but not as the man he once was, not as the intellectual companion, the fellow seeker of dreams. No, he returns as something else entirely, a horrifying travesty of his former self. A vessel from which the human spirit has been utterly excised, replaced by an alien essence, a cosmic void. The narrator describes the friend's return with stark, terrifying precision, focusing on the eyes, those windows to the soul, which are now utterly vacant, devoid of any spark of recognition, any flicker of personality, gazing instead with an unnervingly detached, almost mocking indifference, as if observing the world through an entirely different lens. A cosmic perspective utterly divorced from human empathy or understanding. The features contorted into a grotesque semblance of animation, a marionette animated by unseen, incomprehensible forces. It is the horror of the familiar becoming utterly alien, the beloved companion transformed into a living monument to cosmic violation, a walking testament to the dangers of peering too deeply into the abyss. The friend, or rather the thing that now inhabits his shell, utters words not of enlightenment or triumph, but of a terrifying, annihilating truth, a revelation of the cosmos as an infinite, unfeeling mechanism governed by laws incomprehensible to mankind, populated by entities of vast power and utter indifference, a universe where humanity is less than dust, a fleeting, insignificant anomaly destined for oblivion. The corona, it is revealed, is not merely a boundary to another dream realm, but the very edge of human consciousness, a fragile membrane separating our perceived reality from the true, horrifying, and utterly alien reality of the outer cosmos, a reality that, when glimpsed directly, destroys the mind and replaces the soul with the chill, unfeeling emptiness of the void. The friend's ultimate fate is not death, which might have been a mercy, but something far worse, a complete and irreversible transformation, a living testament to the dangers of hubris, of seeking knowledge that was never meant for mortal minds, a permanent exile from humanity, his body merely a shell, his spirit irrevocably replaced by the chilling vacuum of the ultimate cosmic horror. The narrator, traumatized and teetering on the brink of his own sanity, is left with the indelible image of his friend's vacant gaze, a chilling reminder of the unimaginable things that lurk beyond the veil, things that wait patiently for those foolish enough to seek them out, to tear open the fabric of reality with their ambition and their reckless curiosity. He destroys all remnants of the drugs, all the forbidden texts, anything that could ever again tempt him or another towards such a terrifying precipice, choosing instead the safety, the comforting ignorance of mundane reality, even if it now feels hollow and tainted by the memory of what he witnessed, what his friend became. This brings us to the profound Lovecraftian themes that resonate throughout Hypnos, illuminating the dark corners of his cosmic philosophy and reminding us why his stories continue to haunt our collective imagination. First and foremost is the theme of hubris, the classic tragic flaw of man reaching for knowledge beyond his grasp, a recurring motif in Lovecraft's work. The friend in Hypnos embodies this perfectly, his intellectual pride and unquenchable thirst for ultimate truth leading him not to enlightenment but to annihilation of self. He believes he can conquer the corona, master the cosmos, but instead he is utterly subsumed, transformed into a mere echo of the unfathomable forces he sought to control. His fate is a stark warning against the presumption that human intellect can ever truly grasp the scale and horror of the true universe. Closely linked to hubris is the concept of forbidden knowledge, the alluring and dangerous siren song that tempts Lovecraft's protagonists to their doom. Hypnos unequivocally argues that some truths are best left undiscovered, that there are certain realities too vast, too ancient, too alien for human comprehension, and that glimpsing them directly is not a path to wisdom, but to madness and ultimate destruction. The drugs serve as a literal gateway to this forbidden knowledge, a shortcut past the protective filters of normal perception, allowing the seekers to bypass the natural boundaries that safeguard human sanity. Lovecraft uses drug use not as a moral condemnation, but as a literary device, a potent tool to open characters' minds to dimensions beyond the terrestrial, much like the arcane rituals or ancient artifacts found in other tales. It is the effect of the knowledge, not the method of attainment, that is the true horror. The nature of dreams itself is central to Hypnos. Lovecraft was deeply fascinated by dreams, seeing them as potential gateways to other realities, fragile interfaces between the waking world and dimensions of immense power and strangeness. In Hypnos, dreams begin as a realm of shared wonder and escape, but they gradually transform into a terrifying frontier, a thin boundary separating humanity from the ultimate cosmic void. The story blurs the line between dream and reality, forcing the reader and the narrator to question which is the true illusion, and whether the real world is merely a temporary reprieve from a far more dreadful underlying truth. This ambiguity feeds into the pervasive theme of insanity. When confronted with cosmic truth, madness is often the inevitable outcome in Lovecraft's universe. The friend's transformation is not merely physical, it is a profound psychic collapse, his mind utterly broken and replaced by something alien. The narrator, while escaping the friend's ultimate fate, is nonetheless deeply scarred. His sanity permanently frayed by what he witnessed, his worldview irrevocably shattered. The horror is that some truths are so antithetical to human existence that their mere apprehension causes the mind to unravel, proving that ignorance can indeed be bliss, or at least a necessary shield against the crushing weight of cosmic dread. Furthermore, Hypnos is a masterful exploration of alien indifference, a core tenet of Lovecraftian cosmic horror. The corona and the entities beyond it are not inherently evil, they simply are. Their existence dwarfs humanity, renders all human aspirations and struggles meaningless, and their interaction with mortals is not malicious, but simply the consequence of a vast, unfeeling universe being briefly, almost accidentally, intersected by fragile human consciousness. This indifference is far more terrifying than any overt malevolence, for it underscores humanity's ultimate insignificance in the grand scheme of things, a profound existential dread that chills to the bone. The contrast between art and cosmic truth also subtly plays out in the story. The narrator, a sculptor, is an artist who shapes form from chaos, creating beauty and meaning within defined structures. His art, perhaps, acts as an anchor, a grounding force that allows him to pull back from the ultimate abyss. His friend, however, seeks formless truth, an absolute reality that dissolves all structure, all meaning, leading him to his undoing. It suggests that perhaps the human act of creation, of imposing meaning on a chaotic universe, is a necessary defense mechanism against the overwhelming terror of the void. Lovecraft's prose style in Hypnos is quintessential, characterized by its elaborate, almost archaic vocabulary, its long, winding sentences filled with evocative adjectives, and its masterful use of suggestion rather than explicit description. He doesn't show us the horrors beyond the corona directly. Instead, he describes the effect they have on his characters. The profound sense of otherness, the unspeakable implications, leaving the specifics to fester in the reader's imagination, which is often far more terrifying than anything a writer could explicitly depict. This deliberate vagueness, the reliance on atmosphere and inference, is key to the story's enduring power. The language itself becomes a tool for creating dread, weaving a spell that ensnares the reader in the character's shared delusion and eventual nightmare. Hypnos serves as a microcosm of Lovecraft's broader mythos, even without direct references to Cthulhu or Azathoth. Its themes of cosmic indifference, forbidden knowledge, the fragility of sanity, and humanity's insignificance resonate throughout his entire body of work, making it a vital, if often overlooked, piece of his literary legacy. It reminds us that the greatest terrors are not those that stalk the night, but those that lurk just beyond the edges of our perception, those ultimate truths that, once seen, shatter the very foundations of what we believe to be real, and leave us adrift in a cosmos too vast, too ancient, and too uncaring for our fragile minds to bear. It is a story that lingers long after its reading, a chilling reminder that sometimes the greatest wisdom lies not in knowing everything, but in understanding that some doors are better left permanently closed, some abysses are better left unfathomed, and some coronas are best approached only in the deepest, most innocent sleep. For to reach out with conscious intent, with chemical aid, with unbridled hubris, is to invite a transformation that is not enlightenment, but a horrifying, irreversible alienation from all that makes us human. If this deep dive into the cosmic dread of Hypnos has resonated with your own yearning for forbidden knowledge, or if it simply filled you with that deliciously cold Lovecraftian chill, please consider giving this video a like. Your engagement helps us bring more untold horrors and forgotten lore to light. And for more journeys into the shadowed corners of H.P. Lovecraft's universe, for explorations of ancient terrors and philosophical nightmares, make sure to subscribe to the channel. We have so many more ancient mysteries and terrifying revelations to unearth together, so many more cosmic horrors waiting to be discussed. Remember, the universe is vast, uncaring, and filled with things that would drive you mad to behold, so tread carefully, and may your dreams remain safely mundane, lest you, too, glimpse the blinding, annihilating truth beyond the corona.